Thank you all for coming today. It's really lovely to have you. So I'm Chally from Northwest Surrogacy Center. I'm going to sit down and talk with you, or stand up here and talk with you a little bit about what we do. One of the things that we can't do is really do our program justice in 20 minutes. So what we're going to talk about is kind of the goals, strategies, things that we do to really increase the probabilities that you will have a successful and good experience with the surrogate that we match you with, and also give you some history and kind of tell you who we are as far as an agency is concerned. I'll start out because I got some important people here. This is my father, John Chally. We have Sandy Hodson there as well, the co-founders of the agency. Sandy's my stepmom. And my dad started working as an adoption attorney 40 years ago in Portland, Oregon. Really one of the people who spearheaded the efforts towards open adoption in the Pacific Northwest. He started helping gay families with adoption 36 years ago. So it's something that we've done for a very long time. Sandy has been an adoption and IVF attorney for about 26, 27 years probably now. Also an attorney for longer than that. And they started our agency 24 years ago. So we're one of the oldest and most well-established agencies in the US. A lot has changed since then. So this last year we had 185 babies born through our program, which is really exciting. That being said, we haven't lost sight of how important individual attention is for both our surrogates and intended parents in being successful in all of this. To kind of go through it and talk with you a little bit about exactly how we run our program or what we're thinking and the strategies we're using, the first thing that I'll bring up is the goals and what are we doing. The first thing, helping people have healthy and happy babies, which I'm sure is all of your, is your goal as well. The second thing, doing what we can to increase the probability that you have a successful match that leads to pregnancy and the birth of a baby, the reason that you're here today. And then finally is look for ways to reasonably reduce risks along the way, whether those are medical risks, legal risks, or financial risks as well. So to that end, for 2017, as far as families in our program, right about 90% of them only needed to be matched with one surrogate as far as leading to a pregnancy and birth. So I don't know if any of you were in the session yesterday, or somebody talking about kind of being on their fourth surrogate, on their second surrogacy. So you might say, well, what's the difference? And really it's a question of the extent to which the surrogate is screened before we ever introduce intended parents and surrogates. And that is the thing that we can do that most dramatically increases the probabilities that you're going to be successful. Every month we speak with right around 450 potential surrogates. At the end of our screening process, we only work with 5% of them. That screening process includes, but isn't limited to, a criminal and civil background check on the surrogate, her partner, any adult that lives with them in the household, and any previous partners with whom when she has children. We do those checks wherever reasonably possible. We do a psychological evaluation on the surrogate and her partner as well. Obviously, emotional stability important for everybody here. We collect the medical records from the surrogates' previous pregnancies and births. We review them ourselves. We organize them. We've been doing this for a long time, and we've got a pretty good idea about what the clinics are looking for, but at the same time, we send them to one of several different fertility clinics for them to review and approve of ahead of time. At the end of the day, we're not doctors, and so we leave those decisions up to the clinics. There's lots of other things that we're doing as far as revision is concerned, access to appropriate transportation, BMI, age restrictions, history of drugs and alcohol use. So there's many other factors that we're looking at there. So what does all that screening do? Again, it increases that probability dramatically that you are going to be successful. So, and that's really the main point behind that strategy, which is quite a bit different than what most other agencies are doing. So one of the things I want to have John talk about, which is a different area of success, is more about the relationship between intended parents and surrogates, and kind of how we came to do it like we do it.
So the one of the things that's actually on this list for screening is whether we actually like spending time and talking with the potential surrogate. And we want to like her because we believe that if we like her, that you'll like her. And so we're looking at communication skills, we're looking at commitment to the process, her sense of openness and willingness to engage you in the pregnancy, the pregnancy with your child. A lot of that comes from an adoption background where we were constantly looking for ways to do things better and to bring people close so that they could get through what's a very human, very difficult process. And what we started doing was encouraging the relationship, which we do in the surrogacy program as well. So the first thing that you do is you get a profile from us talking about the background of a surrogate. If you decide that you want to work to meet with her, we will send your profile to her and get you together for a meeting, probably right here in our San Francisco office. And that's just the start of the relationship. At that meeting will be her husband or other support person. And the purpose of that is for you to come to a clear understanding about what sort of surrogacy that you want, what sort of communication you want, what sort of decisions that you would make, for example, if there was a decision to terminate a pregnancy for some reason, to ensure that you had adequate information throughout by having access to medical information, having access to her obstetrical appointments and those sorts of things. We're hoping that you'll have a relationship. We believe firmly that the extent to which you have a relationship, you're going to be more comfortable with the entire process. You're going to have better information about what's going on, and you're going to have confidence that she's doing a good job caring for your child during the pregnancy.
So one of the other things that I really want to talk about is kind of reducing financial risk, and one of the things that we're most excited about lately is there is a new insurance product. And I know that insurance is almost never exciting, but if you've been listening to people, you've kind of in this process, you've probably learned that can be a sticking point. So recently available and a product that we are kind of testing out is, I think, the best way to explain it is a type of surrogacy insurance that is, for lack of a better way of describing it, otherwise ACA or Obamacare compliant, with a few important differences. One, it does away with open enrollment, so that you can get that insurance at any time instead of having to go through the open enrollment process and wait. Two, it's premium only, so you just pay for the premium. There's no copays, deductibles, co-insurance. There's no limit on that insurance policy, and perhaps most importantly, it's surrogacy specific. So it says it's for surrogates. Has a similar cost when you combine premiums and deductibles of surrogates in our program, so it's about the same cost on average. We're pretty excited about that as something that's going to kind of further reduce risks for our families. We've always been successful in using regular medical insurance to cover the vast majority of costs associated with surrogate pregnancies and births beforehand, including doing something that is fairly unique to our agency, which is purchasing insurance that is surrogacy friendly for surrogates that we think have a high probability of making it through our screening process, but are not yet matched with families. So that when those families and surrogates are matched, they don't have to wait till open enrollment in order to move forward. So there's the part about being, waiting for a match of a surrogate, but if we then have to wait for insurance, that can be frustrating or difficult as well. So I'm going to stop and ask if you have any questions for me. Yeah.
What is your current timeline for surrogates if a couple has embryos ready?
So if you have embryos ready, or even if you don't, typically speaking, and this is without knowing any kind of specific qualities or requirements or preferences you have for a surrogate, you should plan on right around 6 months from the time that you sign up with our agency till the time that you receive a profile of a surrogate and are in the process of being matched. Most of our first profile exchanges are successful. And if you get to the point of having a match meeting, which usually happens fairly quickly afterwards, you've got a 96% probability that match meeting is successful, meaning that you and the surrogate will agree to work together. Nobody likes to wait, but we want to do this right first and foremost. So the other thing that is important in all of that is that we'll only match you with a surrogate that we feel is going to be successful. For the following reason: if you need to be matched with the second surrogate for any reason beyond your control, whether that's for a medical reason or something happens in the surrogate's life that doesn't allow her to continue, our agency will do so at no additional agency fee or screening fee. So think about it this way: there may be other costs involved in being rematched, but you don't pay us. So we're only going to match you with a surrogate that's going to be successful because we don't want to start over either. Other questions? Yeah.
For folks at the beginning of the process, when is the right point to hire you or another agency? Is it like at the same time as hiring for fertility clinic, or after? Or should we get, embryos made and then give you a call?
Yeah. So kind of so there's a lot. It depends on some people have different types of stress points, but for the typical family trying to move forward and get this done in kind of the reasonable timing, the easiest way to do it, or the most time-effective way to do it, is to sign up with us and choose a clinic at about the same time. Kind of rule of thumb: it's going to take you 3 or 4 months to go from where you are right now to having your embryos formed, frozen, ready, and waiting to do a transfer. If you're doing all that work while you're waiting to be matched with the surrogate, that says, okay, embryos are ready. 2 months later, all of a sudden you are much, it's not that long to wait. Difficult from a waiting perspective. If you kind of do your embryos first, it can be more challenging. So from a wait time perspective, but that's not everybody's priority. So some people really want to have those embryos secured and get that piece done, and then start on their surrogacy. So it doesn't really matter to us, but from a timing efficiency, if you run things in parallel, it's much easier.
Where are most of the surrogates located?
Awesome. Great question. So about 60% of the surrogates in our program are from Oregon, roughly 25% from here in California, and the remainder from Colorado.